Come hang with Dick and Brett, we're here to get those whistles wet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Beers and Bourbon with Dick and Brett.
I'm Dick. Welcome everybody back to an episode of Dick and Brett, and I'm Brett.
That's a new one. I haven't seen that. Brett said he's going to bring it today. You already know he's going to bring it. He always brings it. Finally, we're back. It's been a few weeks, and we brought some heat today. We switched it up. We talked about how we do North Park, and we talked about how we do Melvin and all these different things. So completely different bourbon, completely different beer. Something I've been wanting to try for a while on the bourbon side. Beer is a brand new release. So we got, what's it called? Otter Romp?
Otter Romp.
Otter Romp, Pure Project, Humble Sea Collab, Double Murky Hazy. And what's the bourbon?
The bourbon's a Pinhook 6-year vertical series, and we're excited to try it. This is actually a bourbon brand that we haven't even put to our lips as of yet, so definitely pumped to get into the bottle and see what Pinhook has to offer. Obviously, we've seen a lot of great reviews. We've seen a lot of things that the market has told us about Pinhook, especially their vertical series. They have their standard bourbons out there as well, but the vertical series is, whatever they say, it's a group of barrels that age anywhere from 4 to 12 years old, and it's a true kind of single barrel series. So we're excited to try it. I mean, it's certainly a newer brand out there. Within the last, I don't know, what did you say, 4 or 5 years or something like that?
Maybe a little bit more.
But this one's been sitting in the old vault for a while, and just kind of sparked our interest today. So we said, hey, let's give it a go and see what happens, right? Because we're just to blame as much as everyone else, where you get into a cycle where you're drinking everything that you are familiar with, and you start to lose sight of trying new shit. So today we're throwing some new shit in there and really gonna try to get to the bottom of whether or not we like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that you can have essentially the same group of barrels, right? Probably starts out at 500,000, and then it just keeps growing, 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, all the way to 12. I think we have they're up to, I think, 9-year. Each shop catches on at different times. Hopefully they have all of them. What's cool is they're all different colors. There's like a pink one, a light blue, a green, a purple. So they've done a good job with the packaging. But yeah, I think it's pretty badass. We definitely like following shit that you can follow the same thing in the trend. So excited to get into it. Let's get into the beer though. So Humble Sea is up in the Bay Area. And Pure Project is down in San Diego, San Marcos. So we got, a Bay Area versus a SoCal beach area. Pure Project is, I would say, kind of almost like a hippie spot. I feel like everything is like grassroots, farm to table, like very organic type, super cool spot, but kind of homely. And then Humble Sea, I feel like, they own the hazy market up there until some of the, a few other breweries really started getting it going, but definitely want to get into this.
Yeah, I like the color already.
Smells fire. So I sent something to Brett the other day. We were kind of talking offline as we always do, and it was a thing on Instagram, and it was talking about the difference between a hazy and a West Coast. Now, before we get into it, Brett, did you like West Coast? Like when you first started drinking craft beer, most people I feel like go, oh my gosh, it's too bitter, it's too resiny. Did you have that same feeling or no?
So I really kind of took a liking to your West Coast, but India, and so that's where I kind of got my start. But then it had, it's obviously pretty heavy on kind of the bitter side of things. And when I started having some regular West Coast, it lightened it up a little bit. And actually, it became more enjoyable for me in that fashion. Every once in a while, you still want a beer that's going to punch you around. And, that's when you get into those India Pale Ale, the West Coast kind of style. but you can only have like one or two before you kind of get like a yucky, kind of dry.
Just kind of coats your tongue,
It,
right?
Yeah, it just kind of takes over, you know, and it's just it's not becoming sessionable, right? But when you get into a lighter West Coast or something that's a little bit crisper or clearer, then you know you can kind of drink more of those, I feel, and still get away from all that kind of bitterness that you have. So then I fell in love with hazies, or murkies, or whatever you want to call them.
Cloudy, New England. There's
pillowy.
There's a bunch of different names for them, but the whole article, it was interesting because it was showing them side by side. I don't think usually you think about them side by side. Usually you have the haze craze, which we've been on the bandwagon for a couple of years, and then you have the people that are the hop heads, right? It's like, no, I only drink clear beer. I like high ABV. I like that bitterness, and that's where I started. I started with Stone IPA, very bitter. Went to the Ruination, went to the Ruin 10, the Triple, and I was on that grind for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I would say I was a hophead, loved it. And then the hazies came out, and they were dog shit. And everyone was hating on them because they were saying everyone's trying to go cheap. They don't want to filter their beer. They're going to throw some bullshit.
Yeah, they smelled real funky back then.
They smell like dishwater.
They smell like dishwater.
Everyone would
like
say they
soap
smell
and
like
shit,
dishwater. And I would agree. And then, you know, I think a couple people really started like honing them in. I think like 450 North in Indiana, a couple places on the East Coast, they were calling them New Englands, and they were using different yeast strain that suspends kind of the cloudiness versus it just being murky. I think Pure Project, you know, a lot of breweries, they take the approach of they don't want to just call it a hazy. They want their own niche, so they call it a murky. But the thing that was interesting about the article was it was breaking down like the very difference between it. West Coast, very dry, very crisp, very clear, very bitter, usually hop forward.
Yeah.
When you think about a hazy, it was talking about, it was like, you know, very juicy, very fruit forward, you know, pillowy. We were talking about velvety before. Soft.
Textured, yeah.
It lingers on your tongue, but it's lingered with citrus and fruit versus hops, bitterness, dry.
To see the hazy or the murky kind of game transform into something that's more on an elite level is the same process that took, you know, those West Coast to do the same, right? It started off with just kind of a simple recipe and grew to be more and more of something that, you know, have higher alcohol content and just grew and grew and grew until now, like they're almost kind of at a place where I don't know how much further you can take it, right?
A quint, man.
Yeah, right? But now you have your hazies and your murkies, and I feel like over the last couple of years, these have absolutely transformed into some of the most delicious beers. The only drawback I have from these, in a sense, is that it's like you're drinking an entire fucking meal because they're like there's so much probably bad shit for your body in them. You know what I mean? Like it's not a great gut conscious or weight conscious beer unless you're active, like super active.
Yeah, you feel bloated. I think you feel that way with all beer, but I agree. I think it's because the yeast they use, it holds the suspension. It probably holds it more in your stomach. But I think the aroma's better. I think the finish is better. We live in SoCal, so it's about next week. It's going to be 87 degrees.
Oh, I can't wait.
I tried drinking West Coast in the river and in the summer, and it just fucked me up.
It'll
dude.
knock you
like
right
you
out.
feel terrible after a few. And we like to drink beer, obviously, right? So I think it's a good addition. We still mess around with West Coast. We still mess around with lagers and stuff, but we really fell in love with the craze because there's so much flavor saturated in it. That's where I think it gets me. It's like, I don't care if you had a pasta or a sandwich, it's just like medium flavor. You get something that has butter or bacon or some sort of garlic spice. It just soups it up. You know?
That's why I'm so excited for the summer, because I think I want to fuck around a little bit more with some sours this summer.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I've always been a huge sour beer fan, but I can only drink them when it's dead hot outside. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, whenever I would go down to, what's that spot?
The brewery?
The brewery, but their sour spot.
I forget what it was called,
Yeah, anyway, so the brewery in Anaheim, right? Yeah.
Fullerton,
Anaheim area, right? Great place, has some really incredible barrel-aged beers, stouts, things of that sort. Well, they also have a sour location, And during the summer, they have like misters going on their patio, and you can just crack on just drinking some bomb ass sours in the hot heat. And that's kind of when I enjoy them the most. So I'm kind of pumped maybe to pick up some sours. So later on in this season, maybe we can try some sours. And I would like to see how far they progress in a couple of years, because it's probably been a year or so since I've had a sour, and I bet you that they're better than ever now. You know?
Everyone's trying to refine their style of beer, especially if that's all you do is farmhouse ales, barrel aged stuff. So let's get into it. Of course, you'll get right into it.
Whoa,
It's kind of tangy.
yeah, it's not a traditional, like, it doesn't match all the other beers.
What are the? Does it tell the hops that are used in it?
It's kind of cool. It's definitely different. I don't dislike it whatsoever. I actually enjoyed it, but the flavor is something new.
Yeah.
Something I probably haven't even experienced yet.
It doesn't tell the hops, but it's got like a.
It's almost like a graininess.
Yeah.
But like with a bunch of fucking flavors coming out of it, you know?
So most of the hazies that we drink are like more citrus forward, right? We talked about like melon, pineapple, mango. And it has a little bit of bitterness to it too.
Just a slightly, but not a lot. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what it is either. I was trying to think, how do I describe it?
It's kind of exciting because if they can make beers like this, then it's almost like its own little kind of niche, you know? That's pretty good.
It's got like a little twang to it.
Yeah.
God, what is that flavor?
I can't even put my
Almost
tongue
like
on
a
it.
tart.
Yeah,
It's
but
weird.
it's so soft. Like it's not.
It's not sweet.
Yeah, it's not like sharp, but
Yeah.
but there's something there that like almost says, "Oh my God, it's about to be like tart, or it's about to be bitter."
But it stops.
But it stops.
And
yeah.
on the finish, it's like very dry.
Yeah.
It's weird. This is
Yeah.
like almost like even though it's a collab between, both of them make similar styles of beer, it's almost like a collab between a West Coast and a hazy. Kind of what we're talking about. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
finish,
interesting.
the finish is not as lingering and not as juicy.
8.6%. Wow.
That's a double.
Okay, that's still pretty up there for a double.
Yeah, 9%. You can go almost triple. 10% is triple.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. You know what I mean? That's for sure.
I agree. I keep coming back to it. That's the thing. I keep wanting to try to figure out what that flavor profile.
And I think that's a good thing about a beer, is that you should want to go back to the beer and continue to drink it and be interested in, you know, whatever the story is. How was it made? What are the hops? You know, what's the alcohol percentage? What two companies are collabing? Like, because whenever you travel, you're going to go somewhere, and if you're a beer lover, you're going to find a brewery, right? Why not find one that you already know has some fire beers?
Yeah.
And then you go in there, and then maybe they have like a monthly release or a quarterly or
Rotated or something.
or like a show special or a, you know, whatever, like, you know, one off, you know, where they have one or two kegs and they're just blowing it out to their locals. That's when you really get into some really dope shit. You know what I mean?
I agree. The sad part is like then you go back and it never happens again.
Yeah,
So you're,
well,
like,
you know,
chasing the
we've always chased a couple of beers,
We've
right?
chased- yeah, the NAR.
Yeah.
Brewer X, the NAR. Bring back the NAR.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring back the special NAR that we had too, but you know, I don't know, you know, so.
God, that was really good. You
Yeah.
know what? Pure Project, Humble Sea, I like it. I'll be honest, I avoided Humble Sea for a while because they were doing the socks and sandals and they were doing a lot of, it honestly felt like the same beer in different packaging. I felt like they got in, and I think North Park's gonna get there, right? Because you find your niche and people are going crazy over the hazies, they're going crazy over your special releases, and then it just kind of seems like the same shit. That's where I got with Humble Sea. I used to buy it all the time, paid $26.99 a 4-pack. I was banging it out. And then I kind of got tired of it because I'm like, this tastes similar to the same beer. But man, I mean, they came back swinging on this collab.
Yeah, great job, guys. Way to put two good heads together and come up with a really solid beer. So
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Props to you guys.
I'm gonna open this bourbon. I was gonna let Brett open it, but he has problems with his nails, and every time we do one of these wax ones, it causes an issue.
Yeah, I totally messed it up. That's what I
No,
do.
you don't mess it up. You don't have the equipment,
Yeah.
to do it. So, I figure it's time we should talk a little bit about some things that we've kind of dropped out there on social media and obviously in our circle. So we have some pretty cool things that we put out in the environment. We dropped a catalog finally. We did the episode where we were talking about the LLC, all that's official, all our permitting's official. We're selling merch. We actually got 7 sales so far, which is super humbling that we legit 7 people have bought in our product.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. What did we start like a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Almost, you know what I mean? So right off the bat, we got some people out there in the world that are rocking our shit, and you know what? That's so much love. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a good feeling, you know?
Well, I mean, we hoped that it would happen, right? But for it to happen that fast, it's been awesome. The catalog was something that was before. The catalog was something that me and Brett were talking about around, we don't want to open a website and have, yeah, my bad. We don't want to get a website and then have 10 sales and they take some of our profits and then we got to charge higher prices and stuff. But, man, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of love, man. Like, when we sat down and we did it, we obviously had high hopes, and for 7 people to be like, yup. We even had some people that were like, hey, I don't even care.
No.
I'm like, what color, what label, what do you want? They're like, we don't care, we want to support.
Just give me some shit to
Just
rock.
give me
Yeah.
some Dick and Brett merch. I
Yeah.
want to rock it. So we've sold 2 hoodies. We just did 2 V-necks. V-necks women, we're coming for you this summer. We're going to get some combo packs. We're going to get some women apparel. We're starting there. We got a hat out there. We got a shirt. Someone local in the neighborhood. First sale. Brett was out there. Got it all done. Packaging looks dope. So we're locked and loaded. I mean, it's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's on YouTube. Don't act like you can't see it there. Click that link. Figure out what you want. And we're going to press it and get it ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We're always available through DMs. So if you ever have any questions, just DM us. I wanted to jump into something real quick, Dick.
Let's go.
Okay, so the other day I was just sitting around, and this, that does happen every once in a blue moon, right? Where I'm just sitting there doing nothing. And I got thirsty.
Okay.
And when I mean thirsty, I wasn't like thirsty for water. Like I was like
Ready to
thirsty
drink.
for alcohol, right?
Yeah, ready to drink.
And so I went into my liquor cabinet and I opened it up. And I'm staring at my top shelf and I'm like, I really should just drink some of that. And then I looked at my bottom shelf and was like, I can't muster this right now. It's just not the same as it used to be.
Okay.
And so I looked at my middle shelf and I was like, okay, all right, you know what? This will do for now. So, I grabbed my middle shelf, which is, whatever your middle level bourbons, right? This one just happened to be Russell's 10 or something like that, right? Which sits on the middle. And it's like, on occasion, if I want to just have a nice drink, I'll pull from there. So I get out a Glencairn, just the same as one of these, and I pour it in there, almost as thick as this one, right?
Okay.
Or somewhere in the same
3 ounce, 4 ounce pour.
Yeah, somewhere in the same range. And I didn't realize that was a 3 or 4 ounce pour. My entire life, I thought, that's probably a shot, right?
No.
And so yeah. So I actually get a shot glass out, and I put it next to the thing, and I'm like, I wonder how much that I pour myself on a regular basis. And I put the shot glass and I pour it, and the shot glass fills up immediately.
Yeah, gone.
And there's still a shit ton of fucking bourbon in my Glencairn, and I go, what the fuck, dude? I go, apparently it's a lot bigger than I ever thought it was. So like, whenever I'm like just cruising around, I'm like, oh babe, yeah, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, hey, check this out. Yeah, I only had like a shot, you know what I mean?
Just a little.
Yeah, no, I had like 3 shots.
Yeah. At least.
And then I had like 3 of those, so that's
Yeah.
9 shots. No wonder I'm fucked up sometimes.
Wait, you're
you know?
explaining why after we leave and I say, "Hey, babe, I only had 3 bourbons and 6 beers, and I can't speak." That's what that means.
I guess. I mean, I just had to bring it up.
No,
I thought
that-
it was a fun concept. Is that beware when you're pouring into a Glencairn that the more you pour, the heavier it is.
well,
That's for damn
it's
sure.
a fat glass. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about like when you're looking at it this way, it doesn't look that big. On
I
the
wonder
bottom,
what
it
the
does.
actual fluid ounces of a full one is.
I'd say that's probably 12 ounces, man.
Wow. That's incredible. I
mean,
never knew that.
Well,
you know?
look at this bottle was full up to there, right?
Yeah.
So this is like what, an eighth of the bottle, and
Yeah.
you had 2 pours.
Yeah.
I would say mine's probably 3.5. Yours is probably 4.
Maybe.
Which, you know what? That's an interesting point, Brett, because we pour these all day and
I
don't
know,
think
I know.
anything of it. I just
Never
had
think
one
anything
pour.
of it, yeah. All right.
Wing
So
it off the nose.
it seems very smooth and caramely. It's got a little bit of bite, and it's not making the hairs in my nose stand up. It's not saying I'm going to be really tough and strong and
It's only 6
kick your
years.
ass. It's 6 years. It's a young bourbon, so it should be kind of
it's
hot,
only,
right?
It's only 116 proof, so it's 58. So it's not
Right.
barrel proof, but it's
So
for
it's
a young
proof down
for
probably,
a young
right?
bourbon, it's still pretty high. 58's not bad.
But it's not knocking my face off, you know, like,
Yeah.
and which I don't care. I just out of what it is.
Let's get into it. I get a little bit of spice now. Ooh. First bourbon of the day. A little tingle in my tongue.
Yeah, I like where it hits me. It's not encapsulating like my teeth and
No.
like some of the higher end bourbons where they're, you know, that high proof where it's like you can feel it like completely engulf your mouth. Like when I drank it, I typically drink above the tongue and then push towards the top of my mouth. So that's where I got a lot of my contact and feel right now. It's got a nice flavor to it, nice little spice. Not overwhelming, but that's a solid bourbon.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on it.
I would say it's like consistent medium. Like,
Yeah.
like for the stuff we drink, you know, Stag Junior or whatever, higher barrel proof Larceny, Elijah
Yeah.
Craig. This would be a nice pour to come home to. Your only pour of the night. It's gonna get me midway there.
Yeah.
Humming.
I would say this is in between, like, you know, maybe that Russell's 10 and something else that I'm gonna pour that's gonna be a lot higher proof and more expensive, you know, but certainly a bottle that I would not put away and not go back to.
Not for a 6 year, man.
No.
And you talked about it earlier, right? Pinhook, I think they're building a good market base, right? They have ryes, they have a bunch of different things. They got a cool thing with the horses. They tell you like the size of the horse, different things. They got a cool kind of slogan and phenomenon going.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the Pinhook thing, right? And I do see kind of like and I don't even know if this is true, but I see like, you know, you have Bland's with the racehorse kind of theme.
They copied it.
It kind of feels like a copy, you know, like let's go with something that, you know, well, bourbon and horse racing go hand in hand, right?
Agreed.
Like whether it's Woodford Reserve or whether it's, you know, if you're gonna watch horse racing, you're gonna see a bourbon commercial or people are gonna drink bourbon at those events. It's a staple in that community. So I guess if you're trying to target an audience, that's what you want to do, right? And then they do follow like they have for the Pinhook series a lot of jockey stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's, you know, it's a cool thing. I kind of feel like it's a rub off a little bit, but
fair.
but if you can back it up with a bourbon, what does it fucking matter, right? And the
Yeah.
bourbon's pretty damn good. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, this
Yeah.
bottle, I looked at the price. I think it said $75 on it. We bought it like 3 years ago, so you know, it probably costs $100 now. But for a $75 bottle of bourbon, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I see the standard bottles of bourbon sometimes at Costco's or something, and I don't buy them, right? Mostly because the colors are not really that inviting to
white.
me. It's kind of like, ugh, you know. And then I realize that it's probably their standard bourbon. It's not a vertical series. It's just not anything that they're offering that's exciting. And the price is a little higher than really what I would want to buy and make a cocktail for groups of friends with if I was to do so. So I don't know, but the vertical series has gotten a lot of good reviews, and I can see why, because this bourbon's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I mean, I'd be interested to try the 12 year when it gets there, right? Like, I think they're at 9. I would like to see it mature and see what happens. I would like to see the tannins come out. I'd like to see what level in their rick house is it aging. Does it get a little bit more oaky? Does it get a little bit more mellow? But I just put it like at a straight 8, 7.5, maybe 7, like on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, some bourbons you try and it's all front, and then the ending disappoints you. Some we've had where like, oh my gosh, that just kicked me in the face at the end. This one I feel like is pretty consistent. I didn't get a Kentucky hug.
It's got a little sweetness to it, which actually is favorable to me, because it's like a reward. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. I almost made him spit on his bourbon.
It's like a chocolate on your pillow at the Holiday Inn, man.
His third shot of bourbon, which, by the way, I did not realize that I just had 2 drinks, and I started thinking I probably took 2 shots already. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, you know what?
Incredible.
Man the fuck up.
Hey, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
And I'm learning.
I'm a fan of the bottle. Yeah, we're always learning, dude. Learning what not to do.
Yeah.
But, hey, Pinhook, you know what? We're a fan. This is 6 year. Like I said, I think they're at 9 or 10. So we'll keep trying them. We'll keep getting them. I would say it's, if I had to pick a shelf, I would say it probably would barely make my medium shelf, but I would come back to it.
Yeah, well, your shelves are different than my shelves. You have a lot more shelves than I have. So in mine, I would put in my medium shelf, and I would pick it over some of my medium shelf bourbons probably.
And we all got blessed differently from the.
I only have 3 shelves. He has like 14 shelves. So yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's community property.
Yeah,
it's part of our LLC.
It's the fucking best.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually a good point. If you're gonna drink bourbon, have a friend or friends that have a better selection.
Yeah.
That want you to come over, because then you can pick whatever you want. You don't have to pay anything.
Absolutely. Well, we want to first and foremost thank you guys for joining us and going through this little day with us, because look, if it wasn't for you guys, we'd have nothing at all except for a good friendship, and we'd probably still be drinking bourbon and talking shit.
Yeah.
But we'd rather do it with you guys at the helm, being able to kind of steer this ship for us. So do everything you can to go out there and get people around in your circle. If they drink bourbon, tell them about us. Maybe send them our link. Tell them to subscribe. You know what I mean? Because you never know what'll come from it one day. And ultimately, we are just so thankful for everything you do. If you want to rock some merch, we encourage you to do so now while we can still get some orders in before it gets a little too hot. And that's kind of where that's kind of where I stand right now. I'm just telling you that.
I got a couple of shout outs.
Yeah.
So I got a shout out to, we've got, like we were talking about, our loyal followers and people that have supported us. So the ones that I will name: Gajani Gabarbi, shout out to you. Believing in the brand. We got Miss Milton out there. So Miss Milton I worked with earlier, and she actually gave us feedback. The first time we've gotten feedback on the podcast. And she said, hey, Brett has came alive. Brett, I've been watching the last 40 episodes, and he was very just kind of reserved in the beginning. And she's like, all of a sudden, I'm starting to see his personality. And then the other thing she said is, what happened in the last episode? She said the last 2 minutes, Dick fell apart.
Yeah.
Dick just got just straight. So you know what, Miss Milton, I appreciate you. You got a hoodie coming your way, and I love when people give us feedback, and genuine feedback, because we know they watched it. So shout out to you guys for supporting us from the beginning and investing in our merch. We hope you like everything that's out there. You already know I love this dude right here.
Absolutely. And if we're going to do some shout outs, I'll throw one out to the Dalrymples as well. Thank you for putting that order in. I hope you have fun on your cruise. Enjoy yourselves and rock our shit. You know what I mean?
First order.
Yeah.
First order.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you wanted to mention them. So they were the first order of a Dick and Brett shirt. That was the #1 first in line order out there. Thank you very
It was
much.
a pinnacle, man.
That was it.
You don't know how much joy you brought to us that day. It was
Dude,
pretty
Brett
fun.
called me and he was like, bro, I got an order. And I was like, what? We just launched. And he's like, I got an order. Let's press it tonight. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for believing us. Thank you for wanting to rep us, all you guys. Hopefully there's more out there. We're proud of the merch. We feel like we're coming out the gate with a quality product. We're going to keep trying to elevate. We're going to keep trying to make our game better. But nothing but love for all of you because you're the pioneers out there. You're the ones that believe us at the ground floor.
That's right. And stay tuned because we're going to keep bringing you better bourbon and better beer as we progress in this. And also, all the things that we promised in season 1 and season 2 are right around the corner. So get excited. You're going to see us out there. We're going to start hitting other platforms. It's really going to start to go gangbusters now that everything's kind of set in stone. So enjoy the ride and let's have some fun. This is a signal from both Dick and Brett. We're out.